Hey guys, welcome back to the Beam Dude channel. Thanks for tuning in. As you can see, we're working on the Mini Cooper again, so stay tuned. Alright guys, so as you know, we've been pretty steady on work with the wide body build on the M3. A lot of you guys have been concerned, many guys have been concerned that I have forgotten about the Mini. That is definitely not the truth. It couldn't be any further from the truth. I just have some mods that I've been kind of planning out, trying to kind of juggle in between a couple different projects, but I want to make sure that you guys know that I haven't forgotten about it, and today's video is just to prove that. So we're going to be installing a shifter knob, well, a weighted shift knob on the Mini Cooper. In my opinion, the shifter is probably one of the many areas that they left lacking. The shifter knob itself has recently come apart in my hands. I'm not really sure how that even happens, but I felt like it was a perfect opportunity to upgrade. If you guys aren't familiar with weighted shift knobs, they kind of negate the need to actually upgrade the shifter. In my opinion, the Mini Cooper has a really notchy shifter to begin with, so I don't really feel that for a daily driver that I need to like upgrade it to a short shift kit. I might do it in the future if this is not adequate enough, but for now, this should be adequate enough. So today's video, we're going to be installing the weighted shift knob. I did it on a budget. As you guys know, I love doing things on a budget, and I spent a grand total of about $45 total for an all aluminum weighted shift knob and an adapter that allows me to adapt I believe it's an M10, I forgot the thread pitch, but I'll leave it down in the description down below so you guys can pick up this setup if you want to do it for yourself. And towards the end of the video, I'm going to show you guys the mod from the suggested one from one of you subscribers. So thank you guys, and here's the video. You're all too familiar with the manual shift knob. It is not the pretty, and is by far not the most ergonomic. The shape of it is actually a little awkward to hold in your hand for long trips, but it does work and it's functional, so I wasn't going to replace it until something actually went wrong with it. And something wrong it did go. The other day when I got in the car to head to work, the top of the shift knob actually fell off. I really didn't know what actually spawned that. I don't really drive the car too hard, so for it to break in the manner that it did, keep in mind my car only has 80,000 miles on it. It was a little disconcerting, and it just found it a little weird. So I decided that it was a perfect opportunity for me to upgrade. So tools you need for this job is actually pretty simple. I believe there are two Torx bolts in the cup holders that actually hold the center console piece down. You need a T25 Torx bit, and the whole center console area should just lift up like a trunklet. So let's go ahead and get those screws pulled out, and let's see what we're in for. So as you can see, the leather is attached to the shift knob section. I'm just going to go ahead and reuse this for the time being, even though I'm going to be allowing my shifter rod to be exposed. I'm just going to kind of slide this down the shaft, but it actually just pops off of the shifter. Alright guys, so this is what I picked up for my shifter. I picked up a 1 pound aluminum weighted shift knob. It's kind of a rounded ball style. This style fits really well in the Mini, just because of how high the shifter does sit. It's a good overall feel for this car. Now because this does have a thread pitch in it, well, it has some weight to it, I won't be able to connect this to the shifter. The shifter on BMWs and Minis, they actually have kind of a it's kind of like a snapping mechanism. It's not the best as they wear over time. I've actually had shifters actually come off on me under hard shifting situations. So that leads me to this. This adapter, it's very purple. Sorry, this is actually the only color I could get it in, so we'll probably just paint this because this will be exposed. But this will allow me to screw into the bottom of the shift knob. And now, because the thread pitch is a little bit different, the shift knob that I purchased actually came with different threads. So you can thread this into the shift knob, and this thread matches the thread pitch here on the adapter. So the adapter will clamp onto the shifter assembly, and it will hold it tight, and we can screw this down on top of the shift knob. So let's go ahead and get this installed. Beginning to run out of daylight right now, so I want to go ahead and get this done so that I could just see how it feels in the car. So let's get it done. So after pulling all this whole assembly out, I realized that I probably could have just kept it in there. So for those of you guys following along, unless you're just trying to deep clean this, don't follow this. So I just wanted to make sure that I was completely transparent with you guys. I did take this off. I didn't want to make it seem like I didn't. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back on. And it's going to take me about 10 minutes. It's probably going to be a half a second for you guys. So yeah. Guys, so now that we got the center console all in, it's time to address the adapter that actually goes over the top of the shifter. So as you know, I have this anodized purple one, and honestly, for some reason, the color is actually growing on me, so I don't know if I'm going to paint it this video, but definitely going to install it. So seeing that we have these holes here, that means you have Allen screws that go in and pinch itself to the shifter. Now that works fine and well, but for a vehicle that you have to shift quite a bit in to stay in the power band, I don't want it to eventually work its way out. So a little trick that I've always done with aftermarket shift knobs is I use the notch that this Allen bolt makes on the shifter assembly. I screw it in as tight as I can. It should make a die mark, kind of an indentation, and I can take a small drill bit and kind of drill out just a little tiny section for the Allen bolt to kind of bite to. If you guys can see on the inside of here, it actually pokes through. It'll poke through in the exact notch that's on the shifter assembly, and it should be less likely to work its way out. So I'm going to go ahead and sit this on the shifter assembly, tighten it down as best I can on this side. Only really one side needs to be done, but I might do maybe one or two, or maybe all of them. But yeah, I do that, and it should bite itself down to that pretty well. So let's get it on there. As you can see, we have a die mark right here. Actually, you can actually feel it with your fingers. So we're going to take our small drill bit, and we're going to just kind of notch out a little place right here with the drill bit. See, with just the one, it's on there really tight. So like I said, you don't have to do all of them. If you just want to be overzealous, you can do all of them. I'm probably going to do the rest of them. They only came with 3, even though there is 4 holes on this. Actually, I'm take that back. It's only 3 holes. It's going to do it for the other 2, and we should be good to go to install the shift knob, well, the shift boot, and then the shift knob. We have that down, we can get the shift boot on. And since I'm not going to be running the shift boot in the traditional fashion, I am going to be scooting the shift boot down further into the hole and just letting the rod be exposed. So in order to make sure it stays down there, I'm going to be using a small hose clamp to clamp the material, the leather, down at the bottom of the shaft. Should hold it there. A lot of people like to use zip ties, but I like the permanency of an actual clamp because it'll hold it in place, and I won't have to worry about it working itself loose or breaking later on. So let's go ahead and get that on there, and then we can put the shift knob on. As you can see, I actually decided to go with a zip tie instead. Towards the bottom of the shaft, there's a tapered end. It's perfect for a zip tie, and I don't have to figure out how to get a screwdriver or a flathead or whatever in there to tighten down the hose clamp. So scratch that idea. So now I can just use these 10 snippers and snip it down. Now it's on there. So sliding this down, you can pretty much tell where I'm going with this. So I'll just cue the montage. Alright guys, so as you can see, it's installed. It's got a nice weight to it. I'm not really sure if at the moment it's too much weight, but it's definitely better. It has a nice feel on my hand here, and it's a nice smooth engagement. Doesn't take much effort. So yeah, I would call this a win, guys. If you guys want to pick up the same items that I got for this project here, I'll leave the links down in the description. They'll also be on my website, guys. So thank you guys for watching, and just so you guys didn't think I forgot, now this is done, we're going to do a really quick mod that was suggested by one of you guys. So, many of you guys have watched my 5 Things I Hate video. It's actually one of my best viewed videos on the channel, so I really appreciate all y'all's comments. Everybody's left their own personal hate items, their list on there. It's been great. But throughout all of that, some of you guys have actually suggested something for one of my most hated ones, which has to be my vents. If you guys drive Mini Coopers, you know that these vents, when you use them or whether you don't use them, eventually they end up facing downward. You could have the AC on, you could have the heater on. If you leave and come back, they'll more than likely be facing downward. Someone suggested that I actually put Velcro on these vents, so I want to give the credit to that individual. You know who you are. Alright, so I picked up this Velcro from the dollar store. Didn't really want to spend too much on something that might or might not work, and I was told to use this side, the side that actually has the I guess the hair or kind of like the felt feel on it. So I was told to push this as far forward as I possibly can, and right at that section that you see that's exposed now, I should be putting the Velcro in this section. By doing this, it should allow for a little bit of friction on a surface that doesn't have very much friction, and it should alleviate those problems. So we'll give that a shot.